What's up, guys? Chuck Burns for the USA. This is the 10th episode of The Truth. I have a series on political philosophy I'm doing. I do these videos as they come up in my conversations with other people. Like another part of political philosophy comes up with a good topic, and I'll put a new video out. This one's on the status quo. What is the status quo? The status quo is what we currently accept. You know, it's the currently accepted system, or our form of government, whatever. In this case, in politics, that's what it is. So, the status quo right now is obviously not working. Obviously, our country is economically failing. From the things of the Fed, to Obamacare, making people not want to hire, to, just the government being in the way. Have somebody wanted to open a business and try to do something with their lives and be a success in America. And so with our current system broken the way it currently is, the status quo, what we're accepting, is not what we should accept. It's the far cry from where our country started and our founders intended. So this argument came up because somebody said that what I believe is too far away from where we currently are. And I would argue that, how far away we have come from where we used to be is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. And that's because if you have something you know to be correct and true and right, like our founders did when they started our country and they said that man is inherently free. The Constitution didn't grant us our rights, they just stated, it reaffirmed that we had them. That's the beauty of it. But if that's where we are supposed to be, that's nowhere close to where we are. But so, knowing that pure ideal that they gave our country in those documents is not even close to where we are, why would we argue or use the current status quo, the system as it is, as an argument to not return to that basic root principle that made us great, that really valued man as a free individual? Why would we use the status quo, which does not reflect that ideal, to argue for not going back to it? It doesn't make sense. It's a fallacy of logic. So I want to hear people stop talking, when they say, they have these ideas, like say, Chuck, you can't just change stuff back like that. We have to do it little by little, we just got to win these small battles. No. These politicians fight these small battles. They trade, they politically barter, and they sell their souls. See, I don't expect everybody to agree with me. I think we can have social liberals in America, and we can have social conservatives in America. And we can all get along. That's another topic for another day. But we can't force other people to believe what we believe. Whether it's the liberals trying to tax other people to give to things they want to give to, instead of just them doing it themselves in their communities, or it's the Republicans trying to take their religious held ideals. And I'm Christian, so take what I say here seriously. Our religious held ideals and legislate them onto others. We can't do that. So we can have a system where we're all free. So I'm not asking you to agree with me in my politics every way, or everywhere and every place, or what you're going to do in your personal life. What I'm saying is the status quo where we are is nowhere near where we should be. And for us to get back to that, we have to dump the status quo. We can't keep looking at it like it's something we have to save and preserve. We have to work through the current politicians and the way the system is. The system is full of politicians in D.C. that take money from lobbyists for their campaigns. They're both corrupt. They're both interventionists. They should listen to George Washington on that one, by the way. And they should have read his 1796 I think it was. No, but they should have read his farewell address from his second term as president. So both parties are all these things, though. They're warmongers. They feed the military-industrial complex. And then they both are for big government. They want to be in your life. Where we are right now is not where we should be. And thinking that we have to work through this broken system to fix the system is just idiocy. It's an errand for fools. If the system's broken, how do we expect to use it to fix it? To fix itself? No. If our system is a lie, and we were looking for truth in our system, how can we settle for a lie in the middle of our truth without compromising our truth? We can't do this. The status quo is not an argument to be used to justify why we shouldn't go back to a higher, better, more moral, more free principle that we were founded on. We are so far away from that, and that should not be a justification for why we shouldn't go back to it. It should be a justification for why we run back to it. for Americans to wake up and say, you know what? We shouldn't accept where we are. And the status quo is no argument or justification at all for not returning to what made us great, if it is not the same thing. So, stop using impractical when we talk about going back to constitutionality. Stop talking about how those big steps and those major big changes are not possible, impractical in the current system, and how there's you have to scale that idea back, Chuck. Stop saying that to me. Stop saying it to each other. Stop saying it to yourselves. Because if the system is broken, completely broken, and devolved from freedom, the freedom of man, and that principle, we have to stop arguing to keep part of that system. We have to start saying it doesn't matter what you think is practical. We have to start thinking about what is right and correct and necessary for us to become great like we once were. And that is not half measures or accepting truth to be muddled with lies. The status quo is a broken country. And that broken country will not fix itself if we try to keep the parts that are broken. This is Chuck Burns for the USA, telling you, without a doubt, that the status quo, if it doesn't represent the freedom of man and our founding principles, is not worth saving. Have a good day, guys.